ever since I started with you and Warren in late 2017, leather's been the biggest piece of equipment we use.
So many people take for granted, like I say it all the time, but like I'm really, really good at teaching these high drive dogs to do nothing.
What are some instances that you feel as a canine trainer in all those fields of work, little niche things that could be better on an equipment side?
The things that I do, like you get like 25%
Right.
out of whatever it is that you're giving them.
They saw like there's a lot going on here. I can make it better. I found this. I'm going to leave it better than when I found it.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to SE Canine Discussions, where we're going to dive deep into numerous canine subjects such as canine equipment, canine technology, all across military, SAR, LEO, all kinds of different sectors of canine work. Now, this isn't necessarily going to be a regularly scheduled thing. Right now, we're just having these subjects, we're talking about these as they come up, as we see fit. So this one is kind of the first one to kick everything off, where we're just going to discuss, what is SE Canine, what's our goal here, what we're doing. And then from there, hopefully in the future, have different subject matter experts on, different handlers, different professionals in the industry, and just ask them, their take on equipment, what they're doing, how their canine work just weaves itself into the different sectors of work that we like to discuss and kind of go from there. So without further ado, my good friend and colleague that works very close to SE Canine here, Joe Haycraft, owner of Kilo Niner Dog Club. So, Joe, give us some deep insight on what Kilo Niner's kind of doing, and we can go from there.
All right, so I'm the owner operator of Kilo Niner Dog Club. We specialize in functional obedience training. So going from even we hold dogs accountable from even your pet dog to your executive personal protection dog. And this the same goes, I try to push the LEO that works with me to definitely work on their skills as far as obedience goes, handling skills go. I know that's really, really broad, but as you know, we dive deep into that.
Right.
As communication, because obedience is the foundation that feeds off of everything else, whether it's tracking, trailing, detection. You have your agility work that flows right into SAR that some people don't think about, even if it's not what your dog is doing, but you are a handler of that horsepower and you need
Right.
to know how to handle it. But as far as what we do, what we specialize in, I mainly work privates and group classes. We train we travel around everywhere. We have folks
Right.
that come from all over to train with us, but right now, it's really, really pushing the private sector of obedience, personal protection, and then having the SAR folks coming out. That's just been a really, really big thing.
Yeah, it's been growing
for
quite a
us
bit.
right now. And then hosting classes like we had yesterday with our heat injury prevention and TCCC. Man, that was freaking
Yeah,
a badass
that
class.
that was incredible.
Really, really awesome to have the training building set up, or like Mike from Texas calls it, the pain cave. Yeah, which is
Right.
awesome. I'm sticking with that for sure. Maybe we need to get Benny to make a sign.
This is pancake.
The
Yeah,
pain
yeah.
cave for sure, right above the bite suits. But it's awesome to be able to host more classes like that, like we used to, with
Right.
the raw feeding, with
Right.
first aid. There's going to be more. There's definitely going to be.
So it goes way beyond training, and really it's the full essence of every single component of the dog.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going over nutrition, we're going over equipment, which obviously you and I love diving into that. But then, equipment as far as like crate setups,
Right.
temperature control, right? To watch over your setup in the house, right? Like, so many people take for granted, like I say it all the time, but like I'm really, really good at teaching these high drive dogs to do nothing.
Right. Well, that's
Right?
key. Yeah, 100%. That's the basis of
Yeah,
everything.
and it's
as
not
much as
turning
possible.
them into robots.
Right.
They're very, very much functional animals that love to work
Right.
for us. Like we're not teaching. They're not slaves. They're not slaves at all. So like, how many times do you and I are hanging out, we're having a barbecue or whatever, and we have a group of 7, 8 dogs.
I was
that are
gonna say
all
like
trained-
15, 18.
Yeah, they're trying to nuke people, and they're just
Yeah.
hanging out, just
Right.
chilling, and they know how
Right.
to coexist. They're not getting onto each other or
Right.
or whatever. And we know how to read them well enough too. Like, hey, bud, you need to chill. out, right? Like to whichever dog it is that might get a wild hair up their ass at that point. But
100%.
yeah, man. Yeah, like as far as the deep dive that we not only go into gear, but the deep dive into training that I feel like as much as I've said it over the years, like the dog world, man, as much as it like parallels the gun world and like it can just suck from the fun out of some things
Right.
sometimes, but like you're either a part of it and you try to make it better, right? Which is what you're doing right here with the gear and how we dive into that. And as much as I despise the dog world, it's I can either complain about it or it can be a part of it and make
Right.
it better, right? So even if it's just something little, I mean, think of all the things that you and I both have done to exhaust free time for um, projects that were nonprofits that we ended up learning about and we weren't that happy with how
Right.
it turned out,
Right.
right? Like, I mean, we took dogs on for free, trained them for free, we
Right.
fed dogs for free, right? Like did all of this stuff and like you live and you learn, but
100%.
you still got to keep grinding and if you're going to be a part of it and you want to see the industry
Right.
change.
Well, it's all about exposure. You have
Exactly.
to expose yourself,
Exactly. So
because if you stay in your own bubble,
yeah,
what good does that do?
or you just bitch about it.
Yeah,
And then you're just
100%.
like, okay, cool,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Like that's what you're doing. So
Right.
you're not doing anything to help. You're just a dude that brings up problems and likes to be the
Right.
voice in the background instead of a problem solver.
Well, and all the whether it's, certain crews or certain individuals, everybody we've dealt with, um, like Kevin at Friction Point Solutions, who runs an incredible program. I think we've said it numerous times, like Kevin's the kind of guy, and yourself as well, that no matter if it's, high speed Malinois, Dutch Shepherd, and you're doing some really cool high speed stuff, you're just as happy doing that and seeing a dog succeed in that
Mm-hmm.
as much as a little beagle or a little golden retriever,
Yeah, exactly.
crushing something. They're tracking obedience, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You're just as happy seeing the success in that because you just love dogs,
For sure.
and that's what, like, again, like you and Kevin, it doesn't matter the scope of work you're working on. You just want to see the dog excel and
Yeah.
succeed,
It's
and
a devotion to the
that
craft.
carries over across the tactical world,
Mm-hmm.
obedience, agility, search and rescue,
Yeah.
whatever you're doing. Um, and yeah, if you bring that to the table, no matter what you're doing, again, what we do, sport, whatever, tactical, you're gonna make it better. You're
Mhm.
gonna leave it better than what you found it.
Yeah,
I think.
absolutely. Absolutely. There's just like no you if there's a training day that's crappy, you've had to hear me talk about it, but like, man, I beat myself up over and like I go down all these other avenues sometimes where it's like, okay, this is how I'm gonna address it the next time. Like it's never a good thing for me leaving the training field. If there's ever been a time like crap, that was very unfair. I
Right.
see why the handler thought about it and from this avenue or
100%.
whatever. And then, put together a routine or a drill or whatever it may be to then help that person
Right.
progress. Right. And then speaking on Kevin, like Kevin didn't even know our philosophy at all, but as well rounded as he is. And we may be able to hit on a couple of other individuals also, but like
Right.
what the canine world, I believe, needs also, if they're good trainers, they know how to adjust philosophies.
No matter who it is.
Yeah, no matter who, because the
No
dog,
matter who you're dealing
yeah,
with.
no matter what, the dog learns the same pattern, right? But
There's a million ways to skin a cat. As long as you're getting to the
yes,
same end goal
yeah,
and the dog understands,
y-
that's the goal.
yeah, and
Right.
man, can't like. There's a couple of other individuals that I think are very, very professional in the industry that they're not just one track minded. Like they can go one way or the other
Right.
to help and
Yeah.
make the dog better, even with someone that they've never even worked with before.
100%.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
moving to the equipment side, we've seen the same thing again with our awesome friends like High Speed Gear,
Hmm.
and just other individuals I met in the leather world. Same exact principle. No matter what project they're doing, what you're working on, at the end of the day, if you're a good dude, and you just want to put out the best product, everything kind of falls into place.
Yeah, yeah.
But on that, yeah, I mean, like with SC Canine, like what we're doing here, originally it started back in what 2021, 2022 when I stepped into the leather world, just going to different individuals throughout, because we live in Louisville, Kentucky. There's
Mhm.
tons and tons of bridal work, incredible craftsmanship around here,
Yeah.
saddlery. Um, so just picking that up and learning all the little in-depth niche things about how to, what do I need to buy to get this going? Equipment, raw leather, whatever. and figuring that out and training under a few individuals. Um, and I literally, like with Harmon Leather Works, which this will bleed into SE Canine, but with Harmon Leather Works back in 22, I mean, starting off in a cramped little spot in our first house in the basement, filled with spiders and rat shit and all kinds of stuff. I mean, but there wasn't any other spot to put it. Eventually moved out to the garage, but like, just going to Tandy Leather and buying $100 worth of stuff and just messing around,
Yep.
making some crappy little patches, figuring out because we used, ever since I started with you and Warren in late 2017, like leather's been the biggest piece of equipment we use. Leash, collar, like Warren loves 2-inch wide, like a good bridle leather agitation collar because it lasts
Absolutely.
forever.
Yeah.
And you can appreciate the craftsmanship. So I was like, man, I can do that. I'm gonna learn how to figure that out. So eventually, leading that into, and you put your 2 cents on like all kinds of custom leashes, like you have yours,
Yeah.
and just we built some really cool stuff. So in 22, with Harmon Leather Works, eventually ended up in the soft good industry in late 23, and now carrying that over into SE Canine. Again, we're kind of doing the same thing here. And over that, well, real quick, back up over that span from 23 to now, had the incredible opportunity to work with individuals like the Marside Canine Program, Secret Service, just different groups and tier, Kevin, the BORTAC units,
Yeah.
Star, all kinds of just amazing stuff, and learn what these teams, because everybody's different. Like even with the leather stuff we did, like learning, everybody's got their own individual preference. Everybody runs their kit a little bit differently, and that's fine. That's okay. So learning how to, okay, how do we take everybody's different preference, but still put something that together that everybody can be happy with
Yeah.
and use across all fields of work.
Yep.
So again, with SE Canine, I think it's one of those things that there's plenty of canine equipment out there. There's tons of companies. They do things very, very well, but there's certain things that we talk about all the time that's missing. And it's one of those things that, from your instance of being, because you've done sport work too, you stepped into Mondio with some of the world's best for a number of years and got to see that side. So from like the tactical, whether it's again tactical, LE, mill, or even sports stuff, or just general obedience like we do in training, what are some instances that you feel as a canine trainer in all those fields of work, little niche things that could be better on an equipment side? And they're like, hey, here's what we're doing here because I've never seen this. I wish somebody would pick this up. I wish somebody would think about that. Whether it's, again, light systems, ancillary, best products, or whatever. I mean, have you ran across any of that? Because I know we talk about it a lot, but I think people need to kind of get their brains going.
Yeah. Probably the biggest thing that, which is something we're working on, and I'll let you be the driving factor of how deep you want to discuss this. But my first dog, Roscoe, we were doing shooting around him, and sometimes I mean, literally, I look back on it, I'm like, you're a dumb fuck. Like, what were you thinking?
Right.
But because the dog's hearing is so much more sensitive than ours, obviously, right? Like those are big satellite dishes on top of their head, especially the pointy-eared gang, right? Like you got your floppy-eared hunting dogs,
Right.
Yeah, it provides a little bit of protection, but when we get into the tactical world, we're getting ready to jump right into this. But ear protection for the dogs,
Right.
My first dog, Roscoe, he got exposed to some shooting, and I actually placed him like pretty far away after I got what I wanted out of it. And we continued to shoot the rest of the day. And he went deaf for like a week, scared the absolute hell out of me. So the very next day, I literally ordered that plastic ear protection that's
Oh yeah.
it's all the industry had to offer, right? And you see military using it on helicopters, doing their live fire. And don't get me wrong, like some dogs, they can turn off certain aspects of DBs, right? Like, and close certain things out, but not all dogs. So like if we're wearing ear protection, the dogs need to be wearing ear protection. So coming up with an actual seal, that whether that's inner and outer, maybe we don't know. Well, you obviously know we're playing around with stuff, and then the electronics and even just like pill tours, those are designed to shut off with human,
Right.
not
Well, the
nothing too
frequencies and the
negative.
hertzes of our Biology,
It-
our makeup,
yeah, exactly.
two-legged makeup.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah. So that's kind of like I'm just dabbling a little bit on that. That was my first exposure of like that was my very first thing of like this gear needs to
Right.
be better, and it's gradually getting better and better
Oh, absolutely.
and better, and we're actually going to be a big part of that
Yeah.
also, which I'm stoked about. Um,
So it's not just soft goods, it's tech as a whole.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah,
It
yeah,
transcends nylon, it transcends Cordura, it transcends all, plastics and hardware. It's the physiological makeup of how do we protect the dog?
yeah, yeah.
Go deeper on it.
Yeah, and that literally piggybacks off of what Kyle is wanting to do with he brought up getting vitals.
Right.
But like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Put
Dr.
that
Kyle Travis.
yeah,
Right.
put a plug in on ATAC for that. Right? Like, Jesus Christ, that would be badass to
Right.
know like what your dog's running, right? Like temperature wise, just get like actual spot on. Then you
Right.
can dial in like your brakes a little bit better for a really long track, right? Like stuff like that. But
Yeah.
anyways, but so you got the hard goods, you have technology, and then you have illumination. Like you know what I do with my guys whenever we're doing
It's huge.
night tracks,
Right.
and picking up on direction of travel. The way that I put illumination on my guys, like collar color's different than the back end color, right? Because if they're off leash and they're tracking at night, you don't know what the wind is doing 75 yards away from you, and your dog, if they're even like I can't see that ear flick, or maybe all I can see is a head turn,
Right.
right? Like some sort of change in body language. So I'm actually using illumination to help me with communication back to me because I'm not going to be able to see a lot of the other cues that I see during the day.
100%.
So hookups for illumination on say vest, things like that, or harnesses, whatever it is that you're running. And then coming from a trainer background, also, I like for the two things to supplement both. So, how can it be operational, and then how can it be a training tool as well?
Right.
And that's where we're getting into, you know, your hip leads that you're coming up with, man. Like because I'm looking at them from a training side, and
Right.
you were getting a whole lot of feedback on the operational side of it too. So it's actually supplementing both.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
so,
Yeah. Well, I get the operational side's probably 10-15% of it, and then all that equipment is probably going to see a shoot house or the
way
training
more.
field way more.
Yeah,
So it needs to
yeah.
work in both areas and fulfill like, hey, if I need to dress this up, clean this up on my dog in
Mhm.
the stack, or do whatever the case
Yep,
is,
yep.
this is not just a deployable piece of kit.
Mhm.
We're going to train with this all the time.
Yep.
So it
Yep.
needs to serve that purpose as well.
Exactly. And then like we get back into hard goods a little bit. We talk about the canine helm,
Right.
where we get to chat with Derek quite a bit on things and get feedback from him and try to push that thing in a direction where we come from too. I mean, heck, man, like it's put slapping like whenever you're doing rappelling, like the human wears a helmet too. Why isn't the dog wearing a damn helmet?
Right.
Right. You know what I'm
100%.
saying? Like, luckily I can still manhandle Deacon's big ass, but there's been times he went to swing into the wall and I was
Right.
like, I mean, how much information do we have about dog concussions in the world?
Well,
Right?
we're-
Like, that's a
we're-
whole nother.
That's what we're
a
talking about
whole
with Kyle
nother-
the other day too.
Yeah, exactly. From like military going through breaching and stuff like that, like how a lot of helmets are actually like the way that the blast is going in through the helmet, it's actually picking like a spot and
Potentially
amplifying.
channeling it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
it's wild.
And then because they found that on two-legged already.
Exactly,
So-
exactly. So, yeah, Jim, man, we can go deep and deep and deep into
Oh, yeah,
all
into
this stuff
100%.
so much better, and I'm so happy to be involved in all.
So we can talk about the soft goods,
Mhm.
all kinds of canine equipment all day long. Real quick, let's step into what our friend, including Dr. Kyle Travis, is involved in with the Pet Matrix side. Tanisha, the co-founder, and the other gentleman, Will, they put together an incredible product that I think a lot of people overlook in kind of our world of tactical working dogs is what kind of fuel are you putting in the tank
Yeah,
of these
yeah.
Ferraris, of these Lamborghinis of dogs that, again, a lot of it typically is fine, but they're essentially the equivalent of the two-legged athlete, the
Mhm.
NFL player, right?
Yeah.
So you really need to think about what's going on in their body. So with the Pet Matrix here, and here, I'm gonna hand you a couple too. Check these out.
Yeah,
So
these are new to me. So you'll be able to you take the lead on this
yeah,
because
this is
you're gonna be teaching me about these as well because this is my first time getting my hands on them.
so I've actually been my first introduction to the Pet Matrix side was with this product Move, and I've been giving it to Harmon, my German Shepherd. He's about to be 9, and I think you know that over the past 2-3 years, Harmon's been suffering from arthritis,
Mhm.
which you can't do anything about.
Yeah.
And not even so much hip dysplasia, but again, the inflammation is just it's been not even his mobility day to day, but his work, the stuff he loves to do,
Mhm.
has been suffering.
Yep.
And,
Yep.
he has to be cut back, and it's truly not fair to him, but we do what we can.
Yeah.
So, and what I love, after talking with Tanisha and Kyle and just learning more about Pet Matrix, these products are, they're not just, they're not made up of ingredients that are like, hey, we know this works for people, let's throw it in for
Mhm.
dogs. Like, no, this is studied on the molecular level by pharmaceuticals, by scientists that understand. Like, and we talk about it all the time. Dogs don't digest; they don't deal with supplements or products or whatever that we take in. They
Yeah.
digest it differently.
Mhm.
Their metabolisms are different.
The
You
way
have
they
to,
absorb it,
yeah,
everything is a slightly different.
it is, and that's what they've truly factored in these. Because again, I've talked to them both in depth about, why are you guys doing this? Why?
Mhm.
Because there's tons of products in the market for supplements. Why'd you feel the need to do this?
Yeah.
And like Tanisha was telling me, much like what we're doing with SCK9, just like what you started with Kilo 900 Dog Club all those years ago, it's a grassroots movement. They saw like there's a lot going on here. I can make it better.
Yep.
I found this. I'm going to leave it better than what I found it. So that's kind of where, again, with the think, the cognitive increasing on a Pet Matrix Think, Pet Matrix Move, Pet Matrix, and this is a big one we actually talk about with your own dogs a lot too. Protect, which is immune and gut support.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can speak on. God, you've gone down freaking rabbit holes.
I mean,
on gut
I've
support.
wasted money on a buttload of stuff that I've made up that the market said is great,
Right.
and it actually sucks. And you know how much obviously Dr. Tran pushes us towards a holistic
Right.
route. And I'm not of man, modern stuff does work, right? And I feel like we do a healthy mix of when to do modern because we see some things like we know our dogs really well, so we know hey, this should have already started making
Right.
progress to
This is off.
healing or whatever, right? And yeah, when it comes to Sig, my wife's dog, she can't handle beef or chicken, and she held on to a lot of Echo's immune system up until she was about 8 months old to
Right.
about a year old or whatever, and we didn't even realize it until, she'd eat a little bit of chicken in her, she'd start losing fur around her eyes, blah, 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 but I don't wanna dive too deep into that, but what it drove me to piggyback off of this is how to detox the dog, how to boost the immune system, certain mushrooms that help,
Right.
fulfilling the dog, and then these guys, these are still new to me, but whenever we got hopped on the phone with Kyle, the plethora of dogs that they test this on, it's not just their dogs that they're testing on. Where a lot of ours it's our dogs,
Right.
and
And
that's not necessarily fair because Echo and Noonan come from a bloodline that's
it's the
pretty
Ferrari. You better put premium in it. You better put
exactly
premium. Yeah.
pretty
It's gonna
phenomenal,
engine's gonna
right?
knock if you put
Yeah,
unleaded in that.
yes, yeah, but that's not we also can't sit here and be we can't say what works with Echo and Unan and apply that to the pet guys that come to me, right?
Or even
Because
the
they
other
don't
dog
know
you
it.
own, it's a garbage gut.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. Deacon
180.
literally just handles whatever. It's really, really crazy. Um, yeah, and that man. So going back to this, what we've what the stuff that you make, you make a CBD that's freaking
Mhm.
amazing for
Mhm.
for them as well. But over the years, we've learned we have to rotate because
Right.
CBD starts to plateau and it doesn't start doing much for the dog anymore. So then you got to supplement into something else. Where we
Right.
use the golden paste, right, with the recipe. But with these are going to help fill a gap.
100%. And it's, and I don't want to leave this one out here too. The calming spray, and Tanisha was telling me about this one for a lot of those spun up dock diving dogs in between reps, to where they, I think we all know those dogs that, y- ig- for lack of a better term, they're just psychotic and they're just go, 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 go.
Oh
All
my
they want
God,
to do
yeah.
is jump the dog, jump the dog, jump. So that tends to help them a lot, either, in between reps, in between, every time they go off the dock, it can help calm down, soothing. So that spray is, and on the spray, plus all these, they're so simple.
Mm-hmm.
You, whether you're doing kibble or raw, it's a scoop
Yep.
and it's already, it's measured out for you.
Yep.
Just put it on the foot. Like that's what I do at home with our dogs. Just put it right on, whether you're doing beef, chicken, just dump it
Mhm.
right on there. And they take it really well. They don't turn their nose up at it. It's just super simple because, again, I think they thought of that too when they were creating Pet Matrix, is how do we make this? Because at the end of the day, if it's another step I have to do,
It's a pain in the ass.
it's a pain in the ass. Now, I don't want to mess with it if it's going to be as beneficial as it is. Let's be honest. After, especially for what we're talking here, law enforcement, military, after working a dog or a shift for 12 to 16 hours, last thing you want to do is, let me spend the next 2 hours trying to take
Yeah.
care of the admin stuff of my
Mhm.
dog. So this is super, super simple. Just include into their diet, their regiment, and it's, again, factoring on all three: the brain, the joints, and the gut.
Mm-hmm.
And real quick before we move on that gut too, I mean, we've heard rumblings that a lot of tier 1 dogs over Fort Bragg they're looking in that deeper and deeper on the gut biome.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Pet Matrix is already get ahead. They're ahead of that.
Yep.
They know
Yeah.
they know what's going on. They know what the industry's looking for on the working dog side, and they're supporting it,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
phenomenal.
And nothing is like you hear on the two-legged side of like, I'm getting ads right now of colostrum. It keeps popping
Right.
up and popping
Right.
up and popping up, right? But you can, these are all supplement. No matter what, this is a supplement. So if like you as a two-legged, if you're eating McDonald's every single day, this high quality protein shake isn't gonna
Right.
do anything,
Your
right? So
multivitamin.
it needs to be holistically everything great. So like for the dog, if they're eating trash kibble,
Right.
these aren't going to save your dog.
No.
You probably will. I can't speak on this a whole lot, but at least the things that I do, like you get like 25%
Right.
out of whatever it is that you're giving them. And then so for this to be easy, and then back it up with a good quality diet already. Like
Right.
I don't want to get into like kibbles and stuff
No,
like
no,
that.
no.
We'll like we can talk what
Yeah.
we do,
Absolutely.
right? But anyways, and then how affordable this is also
Right.
for
It's $100 a jar.
yeah. Well, for the backing that the data that has
Yeah.
gone into it.
Yeah,
also.
100%. I mean, as
Jesus
much
Christ.
well, and it just resonated with me too on, again, because we do a lot of, maybe some roots. We look at marshmallow root or just different additives put in our food.
Mm-hmm.
Turmeric. Like, we're very holistic.
Yep.
We don't do a whole lot of supplements. Maybe Nupro here and there.
Yeah.
But what just resonated with again, Kyle and Tanisha with Pet Matrix is how much they care. I mean, it's just like our train, again, span across no matter what you're doing in the
Yeah.
dog world. If you genuinely care to leave it better than what you found it, I mean, people can pick up on that pretty quick.
Yeah.
And you're not just peddling something to peddle it. You are wanting to make a difference.
Well, the folks that we've been able to work with, we I feel like we attract that, which comes full circle where then they get attracted to us because I mean, heck, man, whenever we spent time at High Speed Gear, like
Right.
whenever we were walking around the headquarters, that wasn't some like saving face thing. Like from the sewers to the dudes running the lasers to everyone we met there, like
Right.
you could tell leadership was top notch, right?
100%.
Like you don't get people that happy with piss poor leadership that doesn't care,
Right.
Like so. Anyways, from the backing of say with this stuff to Pet Matrix to Kevin,
It's a lot of good things going on. It's a
all
lot of
just
good things going-
shit. Yeah, it's
Right.
all just good shit, man.
And, going back to the equipment, SCK9. So, we've already hit on this, but when we're talking transcending soft gears, transcending just strictly equipment, what I see a lot, and kind of again over the past 2.5, 3 years within the military working dog, Leo, not that, there's a lot of canine equipment companies that they make their bread and butter just strictly doing equipment. That's fine. Like, they do a great job at it.
Mhm.
It's important. You're going to need it. But what SCK9 is pushing towards and what it needs to be is I don't want to say all in one, but we want to have those conversations of, have you guys checked out these camera systems? How do they work in the SOPs, TTPs? Like, how's that going to work with my department? What we do? What about drone usage? Have you guys seen that at all? What ATAC? I see you guys are doing some ATAC stuff. What are you doing with that? And go into technology, go into these things that are increasing risk mitigation, making the dog safer, making that because make the dog safer and increase their lethality and their operational status, it makes the handler safer.
Absolutely.
So that's where to me it's important to, and all this AI and drone and all this stuff going on right now in the world, where's the dog fit in with that?
Mhm.
Because to be honest, dogs are not cheap.
No.
Even, keeping them alive is not cheap.
Yeah. And
But-
training's ongoing. Like it
Right.
doesn't stop.
For at least 6 to 8 operational years.
Mhm.
It's a long time, and it's probably gonna go from handler to handler to handler, and, there's a lot of tuning up, but again, I think in 2026, for what SC Canine wants to transcend and go beyond on the soft goods side, we need to start having those conversations of, who do we get involved with on the tech side to bring the dog to the table? Because be honest, man, like, when it comes to military especially, a lot of higher ups and people making decisions that don't understand the benefit of the dog
Yeah.
because they don't deal with them. They just see a number on a page, which it is what it is.
Yep.
That's how a lot of shit happens.
hmm
But somebody needs to speak for them because literally and theoretically, the four-legged can't speak for themselves. Somebody needs to step up and say, "Hey, this is their value. This is what they do. Here's how they can," almost spin it in the sense of, "Look, you can't duplicate this. Sorry, but AI and a drone and bomb, the robot dogs they're doing whenever Boston Dynamics says like, sorry,
Yeah.
you can't replicate that.
Yep.
You can't
Yeah,
replicate the canine. It's such the added value any team gets from that, even just morale. You can't duplicate that.
Mm-mm. No, it's really hard to replace the nose and the amount of teeth that
Right.
they have. I mean, it is definitely, there's times where I wouldn't even call it really an equalizer. It kind of overpasses.
Right.
It's like
Oh, tenfold.
how many folks don't really want to get bit by a dog because the dog doesn't rhyme or reason, right? But like,
Oh, it can end a situation before it starts.
exactly. And they could do it with enthusiasm, that's for
Right.
sure. But that being said, like I feel like where some people are getting really, really spun off, this is the training side of me, but like there's not a lot of really good trainers out there where like
That can incorporate those pieces.
yeah, where like they sold checks that their ass can't cash,
Right.
basically, and the dogs are failing, or like maybe they're not necessarily failing. I don't want to say that, but like
They're not
they're
being
causing problems.
Right.
They're causing more problems than where that's why a lot of other teams are trying like they're fading it out and they're coming up with other tactics.
Right.
Um
It's not the dog's fault.
it's not the dog's fault at all, it's the two-legged's fault where they just don't know how to really
And-
they know how to utilize it. They know where they can step in and be, but do they know how to really dive deep into the training aspect to mitigate a lot of other risk?
Right.
I mean, officers getting nuked by their own dog,
Right.
fighting other people in the team, right? Dogs that can't find shit. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
But they're
Jesus Christ.
operational.
Yeah.
And again,
Yeah.
not make it a bash fest or whatever,
Yes.
because it is what it. But it's a fact.
Yeah.
We all see it. You see it on
Mhm.
social media.
And let
Um,
me stop really quick. I do want to get this out there before
Yeah.
someone takes it down. But like, to my knowledge, and I've been a part of this of doing third layer certifications.
Right.
So like whenever I got to spend some time with Joshua Morton at Active Shooter Canine, like
Right.
he even took it a deeper layer to have like to my knowledge, the DOJ is where some canine programs they train, breed, train, and certify their own dogs, right?
Right.
So caught wind of that, and they're wanting third party certifications, which I think is great. Now
Yeah,
it's
makes
now
sense.
it's totally biased, right? And I've been able to step in and be a part of that, which is fucking amazing.
Right.
It's got to do a lot of cool shit with Joshua, which was awesome. So my bad, didn't mean to. I just wanted
No.
to get that out
Yeah,
there
yeah,
because
100%.
I mean,
You're
being
not talking out your ass. You've seen it.
yeah,
It's been
and
done.
it's there are changes
Right.
happening, and I hope
In a
it
good
keeps
way.
going. Exactly, I hope it keeps going because like there's nowhere like I'm not a cop by any means. I was an MP in the Marine Corps, and you know who hates shitty Marines? other Marines, right? Like
Right.
good
Right.
Marines hate shitty Marines. And that goes with law enforcement
Right.
as well. Like other
Well, it's
trainers hate shitty trainers, right?
well, and it's not. Yes, and to go beyond that, I think it's especially when you see a great dog that has so much potential and it gets pissed away by either a handler that doesn't care because a lot of times they don't get to pick the dog. They're not having a say in
Yeah.
that, and it's a mismatch.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks when either being a trainer or a seasoned professional, you see the potential in that dog and you're like, oh man, that's just being pissed away.
Yep.
It
Yeah.
sucks.
Yep.
It's crap, and it happens in Leo. It happens in military. Um, hopefully less than not so much, but it happens.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
so yeah, man, it's one of those things that you know it's imperative to look at. Let's make sure the easy button's not being hit. Let's make sure on the admin level, on the higher up level, those 2 stars, whoever they're making all the decisions for, um, the larger group of, hundreds of canines at a time, hundreds of military working dogs at a time. Let's make sure they're aware of, hey, whoa, 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 time out. This dog that, yes, it cost you a fair amount of money to keep alive and train. Look at what it can be paired with on the tech side that you're like, hey, it's unmanned drones, unmanned AI. It's keeping everybody safe. Yeah, 100%. Absolutely, it is 100%. But look at how much of a force multiplier the canine can increase
Mm-hmm.
with that. Because there's a lot of great tech, but there's just not a lot of people pairing the two or
Yeah.
thinking about equipment
Yeah.
companies anyway. And it's because it's hard. You have to understand again and this I think is why Kilo Niner brings so much knowledge to the table of SCK9 and what we discuss. And I mean, every time we go out to eat or on the training field, we're talking about this constantly. Um, you know, what how can we make these goods? What can we do to increase this lethality? The um, these dogs, how do we keep them safer? And how do we incorporate this without, because it's easy to go down the rabbit hole of finding a problem to create
Mhm.
you're just finding stuff to create solutions for, and that's not what you want to do. What you want to do at the end of the day is make sure that from a tech side, if you're putting that in with the canine, you're considering people's TTPs, their SOPs, and you're not making it a pain in the ass to incorporate that.
Yeah.
It's just like this equipment. Like when we think about even soft goods, is it going to work for majority of people, or is it going to be something they have to learn and they're like, nah, it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't want to step into the, you don't want to step into that realm of, man, this is so complicated.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
don't know how does this work again?
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
it seems like a great thing, and what you guys are doing is great, but like, explain it to me again.
Mhm.
You got to keep it simple.
Yep. Yeah. It has to be. You can't have it, like the folks that can't walk and chew bubble gum and pat their head and their chest.
Right.
But because, yes, if it's weight, and most of the time, those solutions too are, man, like you've driven away. We were talking about this yesterday. So, like, cooling vests are great,
Right.
right? But
Right.
like what that whole topic was on yesterday with heat prevention was like, but don't let that like put blinders onto you to know your dog.
Right.
Know what your dog's individual signs are so that because equipment does fail. Nothing is
Right.
perfect
Right.
at all, right? And the dogs sometimes, I mean, god dang, man, like Echo doesn't 75 degrees, that girl's tapped.
Yeah,
Like, she's not
100%.
doing
It is
well.
the same
She's not
way,
even doing a
right.
mile track, right? And that's even with as hydrated as she stays.
Right.
The blood and the excessive blood work we run on them and everything, right? Like we stay on top of stuff, the conditioning, blah, blah, blah. But like when equipment starts to get way too complex and complicated, it's like, dude,
It takes away from the core concept.
exactly.
You're taking away from the dog at that point.
Exactly, right? Like there's things that are cool. There's things that are great, right? But like don't let this try to be the end all be all. Because
No.
because if someone's so reliant on like a hip lead to hold back their dog, like maybe work on some leash manners.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Right. Or
you
verbal
want
cues or
exactly
something, a backup, whatever that looks
exactly,
like.
right? Yeah, like yes, we go above and beyond to make equipment um exceed what
Right.
the
What
canine can do for sure, but like it's the training hat for me, right?
Right.
Like I'm always gonna be like, make your training fucking better.
Well, it should integrate again, whether it's you or another trainer, 8 states away. At the end of the day, we're from personal protection, Leo, military, whatever kind of training you're doing, SAR. That equipment, that tech should easily blend into what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Again, I shouldn't have to show up. Nobody should have to show up and explain, hey, they're like, what are you doing again? Well, think about this. What if you did this, this? It's like, no, it should be an obvious, oh, that's what's been missing.
Yep.
That's what we need.
Exactly.
There is, or you show it to them, they go, holy crap, you're right.
Mhm.
That is missing. That would
Yeah.
be phenomenal. If it shouldn't be an argument, you shouldn't have to convince anybody. So again, that's where you can get too heavy into tech, too heavy into the equipment of, but look what it can do. It's like, yeah, but we're fine. It's like, that's not helping the
Yeah,
dog. That's not helping the
yeah.
trainer. If I have to change, again, if I have to change your SOPs and your TTPs and I have to convince you on how to make my thing work for you, so what's the point?
Mhm.
And
Exactly.
because it's just, you lose everything you're doing at that point.
Yeah. Because then this is where it's a double-edged sword. Then you got to train all those people up on it, right? It's like,
Exactly.
and now there's a whole nother course where they got to train on this damn thing.
It's costly.
Whatever. Yeah, it's get cost, and then they could be training other shit. They could be doing something else
Right.
besides this.
You're not helping risk mitigation. You're making it worse, honestly, because
Yeah.
you're making, now they got to learn something new. They got to change their thought process. It's like you're creating potential trip ups,
Mm-hmm.
potential hazards.
Yep.
So, but we can talk about that all day long. But real quick, with what we got in front of us here, the hip lead, kind of the SC Canine flagship product. There's tons of hip leads on the market, whether it's bungee, static lines, whatever. But this one is the first of its kind in the sense of adjustability.
Absolutely, and it fits so many different needs, not just needs of from a training aspect or a practical application like direct actions or whatever, because
Right.
I'm sure you're going to hit on some of that as well.
Right.
But I mean, dude, as simple as different heights of dogs and different heights of handlers, right? Because like I have an excessive amount of gear that stays in my truck, but I'd rather not have like this hip lead can work with Deacon and it can work with Echo. And we're talking about almost an 88-pound to 90-pound Malinois that's pretty fucking tall to a 67-pound little female Dutch Shepherd, not
Right.
5'10", right? And then, heck, man, like Jake, he'll be like, he's a tall son of a bitch, man.
With
And-
KSP, Kentucky State
Yeah,
Police,
yeah.
right? Right.
And so he put in a lot of 2
He did,
cents
no.
on this.
We had feedback from so many handlers across, different scopes of work, different groups, different divisions that had a lot of 2 cents in this thing. And I remember, before we get into the nitty gritty of it, I was literally in my garage, and I think maybe we talked about it a little bit before. And what really, when it came to life, was I had a Vicker sling.
Mhm.
And I chopped it. And it's so funny, like 3 or 4 people will reach out to me once this came about, and they're like, you son of a bitch. I did that like 3 years ago, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry, man, because again, this is our flagship product. It's patent pending. Officially, there's no adjustability like this for hip leads on the market, but I literally just had a Vicker sling, and I was like
Yeah.
messing with it, and I go from this with the rifle, right, and I go, wait a
Yeah,
minute,
yeah.
what if? And it's all the what if we could do
Yeah.
that. And so it eventually led me to High Speed Gear. They have this double tap slider that is phenomenal, low profile, easy slide through mechanism, and it's very, very much it just makes life so much easier because, like you just said, not from operational, but even training. We have different variations to whether you can hook it up to your own existing quick release at your hip or a carabiner on your hip, whatever you
Yep.
run on your gun belt or whatever, like the quick adjust tether with the bolt snap here. And then, of course, for the hip mechanisms, the standard belt loop, which fits most duty
Yeah.
belts. So these are more for the traditional, I want to release at the hip,
Yeah, absolutely.
that you see a lot on the market, which they're phenomenal. 1,000-pound rated quick release. You can easily just loop this right through your belt without having to take all your crap off. Or for the traditional guys and gals, you can slide it right through.
Yeah.
So there's options, and that's important.
Exactly.
But the key, the flagship, the centerpiece to all of this, because a lot of them don't really think about the tether flying around the dog's back once it's
Mhm.
sent, is the quick release at the neck, to where you showed me firsthand, like, dude, look at how clean that is.
Mhm.
Look at how there's nothing on the dog's back. It's not
Yep.
flying around. It's a great mechanism that stays shut, because we've tested whether the dog is shaking or you're moving on agility, whatever, it stays put.
Yep.
And then again, I love running this at my, my 6 or 7 o'clock on my belt because the length on it, you can run the dog, whether you're in a stack or on a doorway, you can reposition to your right side,
Exactly.
left side,
Now the dog's behind
covered.
cover or concealment, right?
Right.
Whatever, like, because you're not,
Right.
concealment's not always cover.
And the main core concept of this is, I know a lot of people love bungee because it's forgiving. If you got a
Yeah.
dog pulling,
Yeah.
there's no accidental corrections. It's very forgiving. Bungee's great, but for this being a static line, tubular nylon, just like you already said moments ago, from the training aspect, if you're
Yeah.
trying to clean something up, if you got a Spitfire in the stack that's just going, oh, and you have a sight picture you don't want to lose,
Yeah.
or reach down and correct that dog or fix that dog, you can shorten that up into a training position to
Mhm.
where that dog can't go anywhere but your pocket,
Yeah.
and just boom, move that hip,
Mhm.
give a correction and adjust without moving
Exactly.
anything.
Because, I mean, I say it all the time whenever I'm telling someone, hey, correct your dog,
Right.
we're light years beyond it. We're already past the moment, right? So when you have your rifle in the ready and you go to let off with your support hand and go down to correct, you're light years.
Right.
Like you think you're correcting something, but you're not,
Well,
right?
and
Like,
nobody, none of your buddies in the stack. Let's be honest, they don't want you. Oh, here goes Kevin again, or here goes Jeffrey again, or whoever, like messing with their dog in the stack, and like, well, you're taking time away from everybody else. You're,
exactly.
you
Or
know,
it's like everyone will function like a retard because
right.
they're so nervous about 42 teeth. So then literally like now guys are like, you can see them, like you'll watch their eyes.
Kind
and
of the butt pucker.
yeah,
You're like,
you can like sharpen a
yeah,
pencil in their butthole because they're so
right.
nervous about the dog. So like this coming from a training outlet, because it can be hooked up to a flat collar, it can be hooked up to your choker, it can be hooked up to your
Right.
prong. You can double ring your prong in it if you want. It can hook up to your vest. Like
100%.
all these little bitty functional things of however you want
And
to run it.
and there's a lot again going to our BORTAC friends, BORSTAR, a lot of those professionals that they're to a point to where, again, from the training side, their dogs are really squared away. They're
Mhm.
not really thinking like, hey, my dog's good in the pocket. We're doing a clean stack run. This is, a clear breach. It's phenomenal. But for those professionals that, again, take away the training, now we're talking operational. Okay, operationally, you can still have that dog cleanly in the pocket with no bungee. It's standing right where you want it. And now this quick release isn't going to change position.
Yep.
Pop that, send the dog, no tether on the dog's back. It's clean. And then let's say hook back up, clearing's done or training's done, whatever.
Yeah.
And you just want positive retention on your dog. Hook it back up. Now I got to get in a Bearcat. Now I got to hop back in the chopper.
Mm-hmm.
Well, damn, this thing's 8 inches long. Well, guess what?
You can extend it out.
You extend it. So mobility wise too, it just gives you a plethora of options.
Yeah.
And that's,
Yeah.
Come back, options.
Mm-hmm.
People have to have, whether it's transportation, operation, training, the green handler that needs more control. It's all there.
And not only that adjustment, but there's even more adjustment to this. So yes, you have the mechanism that's going to go up and down for wherever you set it to that dog, but
Right.
then you have the tri-glide here, so you can really, really fine tune it. So it's not like you're kind of, if you're this really short person that has a really, really tall dog, like, and you have all of this excess material, so you have the ability to
Right.
adjust it. And then if you're like, what do I do with all this material? Just cut it off then. Like, just
Yeah.
cut it off, burn the edges of it, and then there you go. Yeah, it might
The
be
5'6" handler with a
Yeah.
Deacon dog,
Oh
a
my
90-pound
God.
mount.
Yeah, Jesus
Where
Christ.
their neckline's like above your hip.
Right at the tits, right at the tits, right?
It's
But yeah, man, it like there's so much thought that has gone into this thing, this hip lead, so that it's versatile. Like I will have two. I'll have one for Deacon and one for Echo, just
Right.
because I want to be able to slap on a piece of gear or grab a piece of gear and it's set, it's ready. Like
Right.
so I'm big on that. Like Echo and Deacon have all of their own stuff. Even my Sig and my wife's dog, she has all of her own stuff
right.
as well. And it's not like this thing is ridiculously expensive. Like,
No,
for
no.
what you're gonna be able to get out of it.
100%. And that's the key thing too, right? Like it sucks and it's sad, but a lot of the handlers, especially Leo throughout the country, they have to supply their own stuff.
Mhm.
Is what it is. It's kind of been like that for 50, 60, 70 years. But you want to keep it realistic too for them. I think we've done a really good job. The folks at High Speed Gear have done a really, really good job of walking us through, hey, here's your cost. blah, blah, blah. Hey, here's some options. We can make it more affordable. And we've created a really good, I mean, the thing is bar tacked in so many spots to where you're not going to ever worry about any type of breakage. It's a lifetime warranty product.
Yep.
So, and that's, again, going back to even the early days of Harmon Leather Works, we don't produce anything but.
Mhm.
I don't want to be involved in anything but that.
Yeah.
That's not to the nth degree of thinking stuff through. And again, with future SC Canine products, taking it through to the nth degree, taking feedback from handlers across all scopes of work, whether it's again SAR, Leo, military, because everybody does things a little bit different.
Mhm.
And you need to account for that,
Yep.
right? So just making sure everything is thought out deeply. Because again, I know people have asked us, hey, you guys are gonna do a collar? Are you gonna do XYZ? It's like, we may,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of great options already out there,
Exactly.
and you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Don't find a solution for a problem that doesn't exist for the sake of innovation. That's because then you're having to convince people.
Yeah.
So, and everything we do needs to be, it's going to be new. And even if it seems similar, there's those little nuances like we talked about earlier with like with a lot of your training, a lot of the ideas you've given me in terms of like, hey man, make my leash like this a little bit.
Yep.
There's little nuances that people don't really. The O-ring trap, that's a perfect example. That's
Mhm.
launching hopefully here in a month or so.
Yeah, the accidental disconnects are ridiculous.
Yeah,
with saddle.
accidental disconnects. I mean, all kinds of stuff that you have to step up and realize that some people, whether because they're a green handler, they just don't give a crap. They don't think about it. That doesn't mean you don't have to.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. But
that's-
it's we kind of hit on it already. Like we talked about supplements for health, right? This is supplementing literally other gear because
Right.
it's not just going to be slave to like a lot of this can fit with kit that you already have, and then things that you're going to be pushing with long lines and things you're going to be pushing with excuse me, helmets. Like
100%.
it's just gonna supplement stuff. Like it's not gonna be slave to you got to change everything up
No,
to
it shouldn't be.
yeah. The O-ring trapper. Like I mean, I've been playing around with it all week, and it's things that it's keeping the O-ring in a spot. And then it's also doing that whenever I want to turn my leash into like a shoulder lead. It's
Right,
keeping
right.
you from accidentally feeding back out, right?
Right.
Then it is you can flip that thing around and slide it over your
Bolt snaps.
bolt snap. So then if you do have a leash that has been notorious for accidental disconnects, now there's a solution
Right.
for it, right? And it's easy, like it has a tab on it, so you can just slide it, and it's elastic, so it's gonna fit breakable
And
different size leashes. Like
And not even leashes, but just to like I was talking to Kevin again at Friction Point Solutions about this. I was sending him some pictures the other day. He gave some great feedback on the hip lead, and we're talking to like, hey man, check out the O-ring trap we just have. It can be used to close the loop here if
Uh-huh.
you don't like that loop
Yep.
because it's about 3.5 inches long. So you can close the loop up. You can cover the quick adjust mechanism here, the double tap slider. You can cover that up.
For some noise discipline.
Noise discipline, risk, mitigation of snag hazards, whatever. Because again, there's stuff that, at SC Canine, we want to hear from everybody as it's not going to be silly. They're like, hey man, I've had this happen to me once before with my gear. Tell us about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I guarantee you, if it's happened to you, as again, like the disconnect thing, like what are you talking about? Your bolt snaps just randomly fall off the dog. Like if it happens.
It literally happened to Deacon the other day.
But
He just got up and shook. Right.
Right.
His leash is laying on the ground.
But it probably happens to hundreds, if not thousands of other people. So don't think it's niche. Maybe it is. I guarantee you, bringing those solutions, those ideas, again, having those discussions, having handlers and operators come to us and like, hey man, I love this thing, but man, I'm having to kind of jerry rig this up. I'm having to jerry rig this 2-legged solution for my 4-legged, and it works, but I don't love it.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about it.
Yep.
What can we do to make a full-fledged 4-legged version that produces a phenomenal product that you trust is never going to fail? And again, risk mitigation.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those times where all those handlers, operators have to jerry rig or make something work off their own kit for their dog, they're guaranteed they're probably worrying, oh God, I hope this doesn't fail. Like, oh man, I hope this works on this deployment.
Yeah. No.
And that's
kidding,
not
man.
okay.
No, not at all.
So, but anyway, that's where to me, SC Canine needs to be driven. over the next, 5, 7, 10 years is opening those conversations,
Mhm.
being the company that handlers can come to, handlers and operators, and say, hey, I don't see a solution. Can you help me?
Yep.
I guarantee we've already talked about it with somebody. We've thought about it. And if not, let's just go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Because every piece on that dog, from the gut to the outside equipment it wears, is vital for the mission.
Mhm.
Every single bit.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
but yeah, man, I think that's a great first start to these. I think we covered a lot of ground in terms of, like I just said, going from gut to tip of ear to the
Yeah,
equipment.
man. I mean,
Um,
there's still so much that we could go on
oh yeah,
and on about, even the diet that we do.
oh 100%.
Jesus Christ, man.
Well, and I think we mentioned this starting off, but we plan to have people like Jake with Kentucky State Police on, George Manley that
Yeah.
ran the canine program in
Basically, like, started it. He was like the founder.
Yeah,
Basically.
Louisville
So,
Corrections
yeah.
Department. Because we want to have those conversations with handlers, professionals. Dr. Skip Shifley, canine audiologist, University of Cincinnati, phenomenal human being, incredible individual, and a lot of people we already know him too.
Yeah.
So it just makes sense. So just diving into canine science, physiology, equipment, all of that is what we're about.
Mhm.
So but I'd say until next time when we can get some more folks in here and have those deeper conversations, it's been pretty damn good.
Absolutely.
So excellent.